Hi, this is Told. Welcome. Today we're doing a little bit different. We're doing oh shoot. We're doing a Tarkir review post-mortem. Yeah, so I wanted to. Normally people review the sets in the beginning, but before they actually get to play with them. And I wanted to do a review of after playing with a set, and then no one's gonna ever look at these cards again. So whatever's. But I like to look at the mechanics and see how the mechanics were, and see if they were any good, see if they sucked or what, and which ones were good, which ones were bad, type of situation. So Tarkir was a little bit different, as there's like a number of mechanics. We got mobilize, we got renew, we got enduring. This one says it better, right? Endures. We got harmonize, we got flurry, we got the omen dragons, which aren't, maybe they're just like a card type more. Like I said, adventure could be a thing. And then we have I think these are the signpost cards in the exhales, where you got one for each color, but behold a dragon is like another thing. But I just wanted to kind of rate these and discuss them. I don't know if we should rate them based on like the number of cards that are pretty good. In that case, it would be like mobilize was the best mechanic, but it's not really the best mechanic. In the set, it kind of sucks, but it does have its place for, building up an aristocrat style deck, or building up, what is that one? Enters damage red. The Yeah. Impact Tremors type style deck where like creature enters, do damage, or there's the red-white one, the Warleader's Call, right? So it's good for those decks, good for Aristocrats decks where your creatures are dying and you're sacking them. I wouldn't say that was the best mechanic. I would say that when you look at the cards, that the Voice of Victory and the Pact Beast are the best cards, with the red ones coming up second. Because the problem with the Mobilize cards was, at least with the black ones, is they just have Mobilize 1 for 3 mana, and Mobilize 1 for 4 mana, and even these ones is Mobilize 1 for 3 mana. This one's Mobilize 2, which is pretty good, but it's 3 colors, and it doesn't, its ability is legendary. So if you're going to be in the 3 colors, you could play it. Zergo, but if you're not in the 3 colors, usually I try to stay away from the 3 colors because I feel like you just kind of watered down. And Zergo's Vanguard is okay, but it's Mobilize 1 again, right? You're trying to mobilize, and Mobilize 1 just doesn't work very good. So I would say these are, from playing with the sets, those are the 3 cards that are there. And then going down the line, based on cards that I pulled out that I think are actually pretty good, that would lead to Renew being the second best mechanic in the set. We have the Karsi Revenant, which is, to me, like a bomb black card. And probably you should craft 1 or 2 of these if you're going to be in black. You should, probably 2 of them. A must craft. The Rot Curse Rakshasa is a pretty fun card, pretty good card. Works with a demon deck. And the Renew ability is really powerful, and I think it hasn't been explored yet. But, being able to make the opponent's creatures are unable to block, so you just finish them off. And the Flesh Crafter definitely hasn't been abused enough, right? If it's in your graveyard, you turn all of your creatures, so you go nice and wide, and probably it would go really good with the next mechanic, the Endures. But you go nice and wide, and then you turn all your creatures into something powerful, attack in and swing, right? Like I think I've done the Slasher and had like 5 Slashers attacking in, right? Like it's just pretty great. But I guess that would be number 2. Second best mechanic, I suppose. I would probably put Renew above Mobilize, at least for now. And then the next mechanic is Endures. So Endures is either put +1 counters on the creature itself, or you make a token that's equal to the Endure numbers. So this is like Anafenza Endures 2. So you either put 2 +1/+1 counters on Anafenza, or you make a 2/2 spirit token creature. And the same thing with the Warden of the Grove. It continues to grow, and then whenever you cast a creature spell, or whenever a creature enters, you endure. So if it has 2+1/+1 or 3+1/+1 counters, you put 3+1 counters on the creature, or you make a 3/3 spirit token. So pretty good mechanic. The problem is, I think it's not. I think it comes to the same thing with the mobilize, right? Where you're enduring for 1. So this is like 2 mana to get 2 bodies, which is pretty good deal. Resolute reinforcements type of deal, actually better than that, right? But I think that the endure part, the Sinkhole Surveyor looks pretty good, but you're losing life and you're making a 1/1, so it's kind of like you're making a fish, type of thing. Endures 1, endures 2, but you're playing 4 mana for an endures 2, endures 2 for 5 mana, and that just continues to go worse and worse, right? 6 mana for endures 3. Now, if you could blink these creatures, I guess maybe that's a good concept. But yeah, I think Anafenza and the Warden are the only ones that are any sauce in the Endures category. Is Endures better than that? Probably Mobilize is better than Endures, but Endures, these creatures are definitely better than those creatures. So it's a tough call, but I think as far as mechanics go, Mobilize is better than Endures. Sure, you're building a deck around that. These can just be slotted into a deck, and you get the benefits of it. But this is more like you're building around mobilizing, going wide, which is something that red-white likes to do. Moving on, the next one's Harmonize. Pretty fail. As a tough to find cards like the Dragon Hunt. Maybe people are playing this card, and maybe Winter Night Stories people are playing it just to draw cards and discard. But Harmonize, pretty fail. There's just not any good cards. Like 2 mana to any target, but it's a sorcery, so you're losing out on instant speed. You have to pay 7 to cast this again, even if you're tapping a creature down. And it's a sorcery, so you can't. They're all sorceries, right? That's the main problem with these. If these weren't sorceries, then it would be a different story, right? But I think that really held Harmonize down. And then there's nothing really good, right? Like, sure, Synchronized Charge is great. 2 counters, gives them the Vigilance and Trample, and then you cast it again for 4 mana, 5 mana. You tap down a creature, give the other things, Vigilance is pretty good. You can even do it like cast this spell twice in a row on the same turn if you have a, what's that, 3 mana and a power 4 creature that's doesn't want to attack. These other ones, they're just not that good. So Harmonize, pretty low on the list. It's probably the worst mechanic in the set. It's flashback with worse cards, because I don't know if flashback is all sorcery speeds as well. No, see, instant speed flashback, way better, right? Instant speed flashback, way better. You could do it on your opponent's end step. Harmonize, all sorceries, can't do it on your opponent's end step. Pretty crap. That means you're tapping your creature down, it's no longer a blocker, and you have to cast it on there, so then you're taking away a blocker. It's terrible. The next one is Flurry. Not that great. There's one card that makes it good, and I'm gonna put it as probably 4th. Behind the Endures. There were some fun cards to build around. Like Tygum was really fun, but not that great. And Wingblade Disciple was pretty cool. It worked out pretty good to make a lot of birds. And there's a lot of things to cast 1 spells, like the Bodyguard looked pretty cool when I was watching people play it in Limited. The Corey Mountain Stalwart is okay to do damage. This, gets double strike, but who cares, So just not enough cards with Flurry, or good enough, good cards. Like this is a 2/3 for 3 mana. It's pretty understated. And there's this other one. Is there not? Huh. Where's that other one? Lifelink. Yeah, the Sage of the Skies. So it doesn't have Flurry. Another spell. So there's some discounts that's kind of like Flurry-ish. This is definitely a Flurry. But I guess it triggers if you cast another spell. So if this is the second spell, it's kind of like Flurry, but maybe you put that in as another card, but It's pretty bad. Yeah, only the broken steel cutter. I mean, if this didn't have haste, or if it didn't make prowess monks, or if they didn't have trample, take away one of those keywords, either make it just a regular 1/1 monk, or make it a trample, or doesn't have trample, or doesn't have haste, and that card's not as broken as it is. Moving on to the Omen cards. So Omen, really great. You get so much value with the Omen that you get to recast it. It gets shuffled back into your deck. I don't know if the Regent should be in here. I just wanted to include it as like a possible third one. But I feel like these are the two Omen cards that are any sauce, really, like see play. The Marine River Regent is just a great blue card. It's great for control decks. Draw cards. You bounce permanents to your hand or your opponent's hand. Fantastic. The Bloom Blind is just a great ramp card. You get 2 forest cards. So if you have no lands in your hand for 3 mana, you put a land into play, and then you get a land in your hand that you can now play, right? So if you miss your land drop, you just get 2 lands for 3 mana. Pretty great. And then the final one is the Behold, where you behold a dragon, and the exhale cards. Probably Dispelling Exhale is probably the only one, but it's pretty rough. I would say like the Omen cards above Flurry. Man, there's no really great. Like the other Omen cards are pretty cool. Like being able to kill something and having like infinite number of removal spells is really cool and really great. I really like that aspect. And I'm gonna put it above the Corey Steel Cutter. I mean, you have this one as a removal spell. You have this one as more ramp. The counter spell was okay. It's pretty good against Steel Cutter type of situation. I don't know if I could put it above the Endurers. I think it's just this even has the possibility to come up, I think, and be better. Their new number 1 best mechanic in the set. It has legs, because I think you could play these cards, and I don't know what other new renew cards that you're missing, right? Like you tap a creature, it just gives you so much versatility. You put counters on stuff. There's this guy, you get double counters. Like if you put that on a Hydra or something else, trample, I think it's just really good. And yeah. And then I would go with, Endures is the second best mechanic in the set. Mobilize is cool, but it's, you have to build around. The Omen, I really like it, but the power level of the cards is, some of the colors don't get as good stuff. Steel Cutter, Flurry is just at the bottom. This is the only card that matters in the Flurry mechanic. So it could just be, those one mechanic that's in the set, right? Behold, I don't even know. And then I would put Harmonize at the bottom. It's pretty trash and, garbage. Now I want to talk about some of the best cards of the set. So let me just refresh this. All right, that's better. So just talking about some of the best cards in, if we just go by color in the set, just going through and looking at, what's good, what's playable. There's a few things that people have looked at, like United Battlefront. It's, there's some decks around that's brewing up. The Sage of Skies and that Discover deck is, another card, and obviously we'll talk about that in a second. Smile at Death is interesting card, but just doesn't have the legs. Yeah, so I think the best card, I mean, if we ranked it by best card in the set, it's Steel Cutter, but best card in white is definitely Elspeth. I would definitely suggest crafting 2 of these, at least. I mean, I don't know about at least, but having 2 of these in any white deck is a really good deal. It takes over the game. It can win you the game. If you're making tokens any other way, it's great. If you're going wide, it's fantastic to give everything flying. Even if you're not going wide, if you're going big and tall, how about I just give my big, tall creature flying, right? And then she has removal. It's kind of Wandering Emperor-esque, where you can make tokens, you can remove creatures, and you can pump stuff. So very powerful Overlord, Planeswalker, very powerful card. And then the runner-up card, I would give it to the Sun Pearl Kieran. The flash speed, being able to save your creatures, which we don't really see happening because people are abusing it in the Pixie Bounce decks. But there used to be this thing where you use creatures like this to save your creatures from removal. So I try to kill something. I try to kill. You try to kill my Elspeth. I play my Sun Pearl Kieran, and I bounce my Elspeth, right? So definitely a great card, and they could target a permanent rather than just creatures. So it's just fantastic. Number 2, blue. I did like the Dragonstorms. They were really fun to play with the dragons. Tigum, we made a deck around that. I think the suspend was just too long. 4 time counters was too long. And sure, once you got started, it was pretty good. The Essence Anchor, I don't think we did successful with that deck, but it was fun. There's a Roots deck. Maybe, I think I tried other ways to do it, and it was just a fun build around. Kind of like the Disciple. It's pretty good when we were going wide. Fleshcatcher, obviously we haven't used and abused yet to make it get onto the top of the list. But I think the best card in blue is the River Regent. No surprise. Powerful in blue-white control decks. Any blue deck wants this card. You draw 3 cards, discard 1, and then later you draw it again. Like it's you just have to have 1 or 2 of these in your deck. So definitely 1 or 2 craft of. And then maybe runner-up Focus of Mind. I don't know. Like runner-up would, what else would be great as far as a secondary card in the set. I just went with that one. I mean, Spectral Denial seems pretty cool, but maybe just another card draw spell. This is at common, versus uncommon. Draw 3, discard 1. Draw 3, discard a card, right? And it'll be 3 mana versus 4 mana. So they kind of do the same thing. Moving on to Blink. I do have it in there as an honorary mention. Like, this seems like a fun build around card. Like you can upgrade your creatures. It's a little bit timely, a little bit slow. Activate as a sorcery, but maybe we're getting some new creatures out. And if you get a discounted big fat black creature, based on the number of cards in your graveyard, and then you could turn it into something even better, where you pay 1 mana to cast it, and then you upgrade it into, an enchantment or something better that's in your graveyard. It just seems like a really cool build-around card. Vendors of Fallen really let me down as far as immobilized decks and trying to make it work. You just don't have any creatures in your graveyard, and the mobilize, just not. Didn't work. I think it does. I think black doesn't care about going wide as much. Maybe you don't have enough pump effects for going wide. Sig never made a deck with it. It looks interesting, but just memeish. Memeish at the leadest. My number 1 card is the Quartzy Revenant. Definitely 3/3 flying Death Touch Life Link, and then it has the renew ability, so you can give something, another big creature, say 5/5 demon, perhaps, flying, Death Touch, and lifelink. So you just get, this thing blocks, eats up some, creature that the opponent has. Then you turn around and put this on your biggest creature, and now you gain a bunch of life after you just gained 3 life. So pretty great. And then, Rakshasa, hard to say or hard to pronounce, but I think the 5/5 being a demon, the decay counters that you're able to put on the opponent's creatures to make them so they can't block, or maybe force them, if they want to attack you with those creatures, they're going to die, so they get 1 more attack out of their creatures, and then they're Denzo. Red? Sarkhan was pretty sweet, I'm not going to lie. In the dragon decks, you behold a dragon, you get a +1, you get a treasure token, and then now you can cast your 4 mana dragon on turn 3. Is pretty sweet. And then this gets, the more dragons you have, it gets +1/+1 counters. It's really nice. My honorary mention is the Sunset Strike Master. As Strike Master, as you saw in the last deck, this was great. Like, just mana ramp for red, definitely, like, almost like Llanowar Elves auto include. It's a 3-power creature, so it can attack, it can block, even if you don't want to, but, just great. Hellkite's pretty good at disrupting things. Dragonstorm usually doesn't. I don't like things that like a random chance to hit, because it doesn't work very good. Only got 2 Stormscale Scions, so just need to get 2 more and then we can make a deck out of them, but just waiting on that. Yeah, the best card in red. Corey Steelcutter, obviously. It's deck that's around with everybody. I think it has its limitations, though. People are abusing it right now, and as we adjust to destroy more equipment or more artifacts, because there's a lot of equipment in Final Fantasy, I think we're going to see this go down or away, or, as people get solutions to that. I don't know if there's like sweepers necessarily, but I think people will be finding other things to do. And I don't think the Steelcutter deck wins by turn 4 usually, so that's a problem, right, for them, not for us. Better for us. And then runner-up, I would say Tersa Lightshatter. 3/3 with haste, and you can discard 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. Pretty nice to like clean out your hand, do that shenanigans. Green? Champion of Doosan is really nice. 4/2 for trample, and then you could put a +1 and trample on a creature with a renew. It's pretty great. This guy sounds interesting, where you put a +1/+1 counter, then double the number of +1/+1 counters, but you need a creature that has +1/+1 counters on it to be any good. So maybe with the bird deck, Chocobos, maybe, or this guy, maybe they're supposed to pair together, but they're both 3 mana cost, and this one you don't really want to cast it. You just want to like throw it away. You want to discard it somehow. The Stormbrood was, the 3 or less, power 3 or less kind of sucks. Like, I wish it was mana value 3 or less. That would make it better. Creative people like to do that stuff. Yep. So my best in show, if it was my pick, I would pick the Dragon Sniper, but this is probably my honorable mention. Just a really great card, 1/1. 3 abilities: Vigilance, Reach, Death Touch. Well, 1/1 for 1 mana. Like, this is what makes green viable, I think, to play. Just give you the defense. But I think the number 1 card is probably... it's a tough call. I think I'm going to go with Surak. Just the ability to draw cards in green is so powerful. And that's why, like, number 2 is also a card that can draw cards. But this just makes it so they try to kill any of your creatures, then you draw a card. They try to kill, so if they're not targeting this, then they're targeting some other creature first, then, you could possibly draw 2 cards. So it replaces itself, 4/3 with trample, really great. Also pairs well with the second card I think is great in green, is the Erd Heirloom. So for, it makes mana for creature spells, and then when you have a power 4 creature, it gives them trample, and you draw a card when it does damage to a player. So, these 2 cards pair really well. Actually, all 3 of these cards pair well. Nice curve out. But, so then you could draw a card with Surak, and then if they try to kill Surak, you draw a card. It's really great. And colorless. The globes were pretty cool. This card here is probably underused, and we might see it coming up in equipment decks, but hexproof from monocolored spells is pretty good, and I think it might even get stronger with Final Fantasy, because I don't know if there's a lot of multicolored removal spells in Final Fantasy. Pretty cool there. Mox Jasper, really disappointing. Probably shouldn't be legendary, in all honesty. Yeah, unless you're like using it to 0 spell with Ugin, whatevs. Yeah. So best colorless card in the set. I mean, as you can see, there's like, even if I do craft, that's it. These are the only ones to choose from. It's not really a competition. Ugin's obviously the best card, colorless in the set. Powerful Planeswalker. If you can ramp into him, all you got to do is 1 or 2 ramps, and by turn 5 you got a Ugin. And then if you have those colorless spells, the colorless spells don't even matter, right? You either get 3 mana to cast your other spells, right? Like, so 3 mana gets you a River Regent for 3, right? So, I mean, you would need 10 mana, I guess, on the same turn that you cast Ugin. But if Ugin stays around, you can, double spell on the next turn. You don't have to take that card draw and life gain type of situation. And then multicolored, I think multicolored was a letdown, mostly. The sieges were all in one color, one for each color pairing or enemy pairings. And I think they just kind of suck. Like this one, even for 4 mana, you get +1/+1 counters every single turn. There's the White Virtue from Eldraine or whatever, and that costs 5. I mean, untaps your creatures, so it does that as well. But this is 1 cheaper, and doesn't even see the light of day. And then the second part, sacrifice whenever a creature you control dies, the opponent has to sack a creature. Like, it just seems absurd, right? Like, if you're playing Mobilize, and then they're gonna have to lose a creature after your mobilized creatures die, right? This one, I mean, gives creatures haste for 3 mana. There's stuff that gives it for 2. There's creatures that give it for 3 or 4 mana, which are better, right? Like, you just have the Enduring Courage or whatever, the red one that gives +2/+0 and haste, right? This thing, I don't know. Put a counter, you draw a card, or you attack and put a counter and give it menace. Frontline Rush, like, this card doesn't even see play, and it's a monster of a card. Target creature gets +X whenever, where it's the number of creatures you control, so you're just going wide. Skimmer is cool, whatever. That's garbage. Now, Zergo tried to make him work, I don't know if we have more warriors coming in. Definitely working on a deck to try to get him to work. And the Siegebreaker was pretty cool. Probably honorable mention if we're talking about honorable mentions as a card that's pretty cool. But the 3 colors, I think, is what's maybe the mana base is screwing things up. And once you get that 1 land in, the Dragonback Salt, really fun deck on that last one for to finish up the season. Making elephants that get bounced. How bad is that? You make 2 elephants and then they bounce it with 1 spell. Yeah. I did like the Guardian. Pretty good that you could cast it, have it out there, get your attack in, and not have to worry about, it's got hexproof until you attack with it. Skirmish Runner didn't get to do, Build Tour. This thing's, I think, a pretty good card. I haven't tried it out yet. When it enters, you put 1 non-creature card, non-land card from your graveyard on top of your library, so you get to recast something for 3 mana, possibly. Seems really cool. The Grappler was fun in the Narset deck or Nahiri's Resolve deck. That was really fun. I do want to a new way forward, a Cactus hit. That's my goal. Bargain, really good. Another honorable mention, I would say. Instant speed, stock up. Yeah. So I would say the best multicolored card is Ishiko. Paragon out of the way. You get to gas the creature or a non-land. Exile target non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. Copy it. So, you just get so much value, and then that's it. Not even like, I don't even think people are blinking this or picking it back up. If you pick it back up and then recast it, or using enchantments or some other target non-land card. So you could do like a creature card too, which people aren't even doing, right? Make a copy of it. Seems crazy. And then I would say the second runner-up would be the Windcrag Siege, just to make that 1/1 life token, 1/1 lifelink goblin token for the Jeskai mode. The Mardu mode, just a waste. I mean, it does make your mobilize things better, but you need a creature, man. If this was a creature that did that, like they used to have that one where attacking creatures did stuff. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's my set review. Pretty good. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, any cards that look fun? Tempest Hawk was an okay deck. It needed to get rolling. Once it got rolling, it was pretty good. I don't think there's anything else. But like standout things. I haven't made any Turtle League deck yet. The Dragonstorm kind of let me down. I thought it would be better to be recasting that multiple times, but two 2 life gain is just not, or 2 life loss is not that great. If it was damage, it would be better. Maybe, you know, and then you start like, if I had a bloodletter out, then it's 4, but if I have a bloodletter out, there's better things to be doing than replaying Dragonstorms. Sipsig, I'm definitely want to make a deck with that still, but not yet. It's going to work really good with Anafenza. You get Anafenza out, and then you start going off with this, and you just Anafenza and then up. Right? A non-token creature dies, you make a 2/2, and then you make a 2/2 zombie. Pretty good. And not to mention, like, the new Blood Artist, whatever that guy's name is. I'm not a Final Fantasy nerd. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know if I played 3 or anything back in the old days. Anything else that looks like it's fun to build around? You know, I would say the one thing is I don't get any land destruction cards. It really sucks. I never pick them up. Yeah, I want to build a storm scale deck. Definitely need to get one of those in. When this creature becomes tapped, look at the top card of your library. Land, you may be able to put into your hand. If you don't put it into your hand, put it into the graveyard. You know. I don't know if there's anything else. Like, I never created Hoofed on the elf deck. It just didn't seem necessary. I don't know. Tyvar does the same thing, basically, and he's indestructible. And for, like, 10 mana, you can do a double Tyvar activation. You don't need creatures out, you just need a powerful creature. I guess this gives, like, trample. Maybe that's better. Yeah, definitely working on the Zergo deck. We'll figure that out someday. And Mardu Siegebreaker. I think they're a combination, so, you know, you can't sack warriors. So if this takes up a warrior, then you can't sack it. I did see a pretty crazy combo of, like, with shapeshifters in the Mardu Siegebreaker. That was pretty sweet. They just, like, infinite chained it and pinged him to death with the impact tremors. Fellas are... Yeah, the Fang Keeper would be pretty sweet too to build a deck around that, but I only got one of them, so won't be seeing that anytime soon. Destroy all creatures and enchantments. Probably could be necessary. Draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way. Ooh. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. So this has been my review of Tarkir. Or post-mortem of Tarkir. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed, and look forward to brewing up some sweet Final Fantasy decks. This has been Told. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time.